Released in the middle of 2020, The Last of Us Part 2 proved to be one of the most controversial video games of the generation. Most of the controversy of this game was due to the story and the actions of the characters, where the theme of The Last of Us Part 2 is the pursuit of revenge that ends in destruction. Very similar to the themes conveyed in Mary Shelley's classic novel, Frankenstein. The Last of Us Part 2 can easily be viewed as a modern-day Frankenstein. The game is split into a prologue that sets up the events that will follow in 3 parts, played from the point of view from the 2 main characters involved in the conflict, Ellie and Abby. The prologue sets up Abby as the antagonist after she kills Joel, with Ellie being the protagonist who will try to avenge Joel's death.
Joel, get up. Joel, fucking get up. Please stop. Please don't do this. Joel, please get up. No! Fucking kill you.
Following the prologue, the first part of the game follows Ellie as she is consumed with revenge. At this point in the game, the player is sympathizing with Ellie and also wants to avenge Joel's death. And although the game forces Ellie, and in turn the player, to do some horrible things, Ellie knows that the end goal justifies the means.
Tell me where Abby is. Where the fuck is she?
This is very similar to Frankenstein's story, where the title character is consumed with hatred after his monster murders his youngest brother. Frankenstein wants to avenge his brother's death and plays as the protagonist of the story, while his monster is the antagonist. And just like The Last of Us Part 2, the reader also wants to see Frankenstein get revenge. The second act of The Last of Us Part 2 throws a surprise at the player by forcing them to play as the antagonist, Abby. At this point in the story, the player hates this character and will not want to play as her and does not care about her, who she is, and why she did what she did. However, as you proceed in the story from Abby's point of view, you start to understand her as a person and why she murdered Joel. If you played the first game, you already know that Joel ended up destroying any chance for a cure to be discovered, but what you did not know until playing as Abby was that the doctor Joel ended up killing was Abby's father. At this point, the player might sympathize for Abby and understand why she killed Joel. However, this directly contradicts how the player was feeling after the first act.
Is he still in the fucking building?
Is that...
Abby.
No!
Abby, don't look.
Dad! Dad! No! No!
This is also very similar to Frankenstein, where the second act of the story is told from the perspective of Frankenstein's monster. You start to understand the monster and why he did what he did, and you might even start to sympathize with him. This, just like The Last of Us Part 2, contradicts how the reader was feeling up until this point. The second act ends with Abby confronting Ellie and nearly killing her, but in the end, gives her a chance to walk away.
Don't ever let me see you again. Come on.
The final act in The Last of Us Part 2 then switches back to Ellie, and playing as her, you can see her life the way it could be if she gives up her pursuit. However, the player then witnesses firsthand as she loses grip on her reality and everything she cares about, as her single drive in life goes back to revenge, no matter the cost to herself or anyone around her.
Hey, stop. Hey, come on. We've got a family. She doesn't get to be more important than that. No. I'm not gonna do this again.
That's up to you.
The player is caught in the middle of both of these characters. You can see how they are both justified in the actions they take, but at the same time they can't both be right in their actions because they directly contradict each other. Ellie wants revenge for Abby killing Joel, but if Abby was justified for killing Joel, then Ellie is in the wrong. So the player is left thinking who is right, and is the player supposed to pick a side they want to win? I don't think so. Unlike the end of Frankenstein, where the pursuit of revenge ultimately takes the title character to his untimely destruction, The Last of Us Part 2 ends with Ellie giving up her pursuit at the last second to save a tiny sliver of her soul. While this can be viewed as Ellie giving up everything and not achieving her goal, not to mention all the lives she took on her pursuit ultimately being pointless, it might seem to the player that it was all for naught. However, it also shows that no matter how far down a path you go, there is always a chance for you to change course. In the end, the player is left thinking about the actions taken by the characters and caught in sympathy for both the tragic stories of both Ellie and Abby. The objective viewing of these characters leaves a lot to think about, which is by no means a clear and unambiguous conclusion. The lessons the characters learn or do not learn from the pursuit of revenge and violence also contribute to the way the player might feel in the end.